Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm here with my main man, Paul T. Harina of the SuperHuman Transformation. I'm Ryan. If I haven't met you before, I work down in occupational medicine, and we're just coming at you with some holiday tips. We're coming up on our holiday season. It's about to be a month or so of travel and food and family. So we just wanted to kind of give you some advice and some tips on some things to look out for and how you can stay as healthy as you possibly can while you are starting off this holiday season.
Yeah.
So
I'll be covering nutrition stuff, and then you're going to be covering...
I'll be talking about how we can kind of stay on our fitness plans, and then also how to survive car rides and plane rides, because those can be very tricky and can kind of lead you into some issues with your back and legs, and just trying to work on staying as healthy as we can as we're in the car or plane.
Cool. Awesome.
So as we get to our holidays with our families, you know, it's, for a lot of people, the first thing they think of, oh, it's time for some desserts, it's time for some food, it's time to eat. And a lot of times we're with family who don't eat the same way as we do or don't have the same mindset about trying to be healthy as we do. Mm-hmm. So it can kind of be kind of tricky to find, you know, be healthy and still enjoy Thanksgiving. So,
Absolutely.
You know, do you have any tips or advice as to how you can still enjoy Thanksgiving and eat good food at the same time?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we would want to preface this all with is, yes, it's the holidays. We want to enjoy ourselves, and we don't want to be so nitpicky and strict that we're not enjoying our time with our families, right? And I've said many times before, if I'm visiting, you know, I have this nutrition program that we're following, and we feel amazing, and we're eating real food, and we have our basic rules around it. But if I go to visit my sister and I haven't seen her in several years, and she's making her homemade my mom's ancient recipe with oatmeal and some other stuff in it, I might not do on a daily basis, but because it's such a special occasion, of course I'm going to partake in something like that.
Right.
But we would recommend staying away from things that are obviously just not good for you, like, you know, all the breads and pastas and store-bought like cookies from Albertsons and cakes, because they're loaded with toxic oils and toxic ingredients and artificial preservatives and sweeteners and stuff like that. So maybe a big win would be just trying to avoid packaged and processed food and low-quality foods in general, but then also allowing yourself the opportunity to partake in things that are special to you,
right,
and mean a lot to you, right? But then we also have this little checklist that we put together, so we'll include this as a downloadable PDF that you can use. And this is a 4-step process that we feel like works really well. I know it works for myself, it works for private clients, and we've done it to some groups, and we've gotten really good feedback on it. So as you're going into the holidays, you know, I would say every day counts, because I think we all know that if it's slippery slope, right?
Yep.
One day of eating off, you kind of feel off from it, and then that leads into 2 days, and then a few days, and then it's hard to get back on it, right? So I think the mindset needs to be, you want to be as clean as you can while at the same time enjoying life. And so the first thing that we want to do, step one, is think about what you want, right? What are we doing all this for? How do I want to look, feel, and perform? What are my health goals? How do I want to see myself, see my body? How do I want to fit my clothes? And how do I want other people to see me? And it's really good to come up with your own personal affirmations and maybe even like a little vision statement or paragraph describing yourself at your highest and best self.
Right.
So you always have that in the back of your mind, right? This is my goal. This is why I'm trying to be so healthy, because I want to look, feel, and perform this certain way. And you're kind of programming yourself to make better decisions because of this way that you're seeing yourself on a regular basis. All right. The second thing that we would do is recommend using tomorrow for today. So when I'm in a decision-making point, I'm at that little juncture and I'm tempted and I have something in front of me that I feel like is probably not the best thing, and I'm trying to decide whether I want to do it or not, you can go through this little checklist, which is basically notice the urge or the craving and just be present with it. Like, you're in that decision moment and you're here, so just kind of be present with it. Okay, here's where my temptation is. I acknowledge this. And just that little pause sometimes gives us enough willpower to make a better decision.
Right.
Also, you want to think about how you're going to feel after you consume it, right? So a lot of times, most of us know, you know, the problematic foods and how we feel from the bloating and just the tiredness, and maybe even we break out with some skin issues or something, right? So we want to think about, if I consume this, how is this going to make me feel? And then on the flip side of that, think, if I make a better decision in this moment, how am I going to feel in a good way? And for me, a lot of times, that's all the leverage that I need to make a good decision in the moment. It's like, I want to get to bed tonight feeling good, and I want to wake up tomorrow feeling lean and clean and mean. And usually that helps me in that decision-making process, okay? So step number 3, as you're going through this holiday season, whether you're here at home, traveling, seeing friends and family members, we would highly recommend sticking to your routine. specifically those things that make you feel really good, right? So getting up in the morning at the same time. It's beneficial even in the holidays not to sleep in all the time because you're messing up your natural rhythms. So getting up at the same time, if you go for a walk, committing to that walk, if you have a personal process, a devotion, a meditation, sticking to those things, and then also sticking to a workout if that's your thing, right? Sticking to some kind of movement, because all those things are giving you momentum to continue to do right things throughout the day. And then we'd say whenever that first meal is for you, maybe just make sure that's a really good, appropriate, real food, nutritious meal. Because again, getting that first meal right usually gives you some momentum to do better things throughout the rest of the day. And even if later in the day you decide to indulge a little bit, at least you have all those great things that you've done the first part of the day, which are your basic health routine.
Right.
You know? And then finally, we say it's really beneficial to get some accountability. So we have what we call an SHT diligence tracker, and I'd be happy to share that with everyone too. It's basically you just have this calendar and you're checking off good days and days where you kind of fall off or something, so you can see over time how many days you've had of fitness, how many days you've had of real food, how many days you've done a meditation and some sleep protocols. So just seeing that as a visual I think is really beneficial for a lot of people. Here at the CrossFit Combine, we're also in this little challenge where we have these big calendars, and for every day that we do fitness, we get one part of an X, and for every day we don't eat processed food, we get another part of an X. So the goal is to get an X as many days as you can throughout the month. So that might be something to consider. And then also for accountability, having an accountability partner that you can stay in touch with on a daily basis that has similar health goals to you, that you can just reach out and say, hey, you know, I'm in a decision moment right here. What should I do? Should I go for it? You know, I do this all the time. Me and Colby have this little thing going right now. And I'll text him and say, hey, brother, I'm in that moment. And he's like, no, don't do it. And I'm like, all right, cool. I can't do it because he told me not to.
Right.
You know? So accountability is a really, really good thing. We also have some other tips and hints for, you know, how to interact with family members and make better decisions as far as conversations go, and that will be part of this downloadable PDF.
That was going to be my question, because I know I get that a lot.
Like how to talk to family members and stuff?
You know, mom's like, it's Thanksgiving, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You can eat this, it's Thanksgiving. Well, I just don't want to, because you know, and so having some advice as to how you can actually speak to them and not be mean or rude, but to be able to hold your ground and have your boundaries to, no, I don't want to eat that, I'll eat this and still have a good time.
Yeah, I think one thing that we talked about in this meeting, Colby brought up a really good point, and it's like, if you're trying to do your own thing and it's slightly different from everyone else, just don't draw attention to yourself. Right. Resist the urge to just talk about what you're doing, because like I think a lot of people feel like that's kind of preaching to them, but instead you just go in and you pick the stuff that you want and you eat what you want and you don't make a big deal about it. And if someone asks you what you're doing or why you're not eating this, then we do have some verbiage in here that's very passive and very nice and pleasant, and it just doesn't lead to these debates you know, that we want to stay out of when we're in the holiday season. So
perfect.
Yeah. So, and then you've got some fitness ergonomics movement type stuff to go over, right?
Yeah, it's, you know, it can be really hard. You get, especially when you're traveling, you're away, you know, it gets really hard to stay in your routine. So I think my first thing that I would just say to you is don't be too hard on yourself. You know, it may not be perfect. You may not have the best gym in the world, but just getting some movement is better than no movement. And if you go 3 days without getting your exercise routine, you're going to be okay. You know, don't stress yourself out because, oh, I haven't been able to get to the gym, and you know, you'll be okay. You're not going to lose your fitness over 3 days. So don't be hard on yourself. But that being said, try, you know, anything that you can do to get movement in.
Maybe a walk or something, right?
That was going to be one of the big ones. You know, how many times do you find yourself in the holiday season and the family's just kind of sitting around watching TV or just hanging out? Be the one to say, hey, let's go for a walk. You know, get the whole family up. I've done this with my family before, and you know, it actually spurs new conversations, and you get outside of your little comfort zone inside the little house. You get outside, it kind of spurs some different, you know, conversations, and just kind of gets your brain moving, and you can be an example to everybody else and get them moving and feeling good.
I love that.
So I think that's a great way to go, is just get outside and walk, and you know, and it starts. I always, you know, you're a 5 a.m. workout person. I think on a holiday day, you know, when you're going to be having Thanksgiving dinner that night, it's a great idea to get a workout in before then. Because like you said, it starts to create that healthy habit. And I know for me personally, when I work out, it makes me much more, you know, resolute in my wanting to eat healthy. Because I was like, well, I just worked out, so I don't really want to, you know, to go against that. And so I think that's a really important thing, is to get that on those days. And you know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just getting that mindset of being healthy and moving. You know, so a lot of times you're going to be, you know, say you're going out to your parents' house across the country. They don't have a gym that you can go to. You don't need a gym. You know, it could be you could do a little workout in a little 5x5 area in your old childhood bedroom. Just be doing some air squats or, my personal favorite, burpees. You don't need a whole bunch of space.
Yep.
Just moving.
I've done some brutal workouts in my sister's driveway.
Right, yeah.
Because there's not a gym nearby when I go visit her, but we just squats, burpees, we
Right.
got a couple dumbbells, do some little
Use whatever you
movements,
can.
yeah.
And if that's, you don't even need a dumbbell. Find some rock on the ground and you can use it. Go for a run. You don't need any equipment to go for a run. Make sure you just bring your running shoes with you and go for a little jog, and just anything you can do to move. Kind of get your heart rate up a little bit, sweat. My personal favorite just for at-home workout is you go for 10 minutes. Just put 10 minutes on the clock and do 10 air squats, 10 push-ups, and just go back and forth. It's simple, it's easy. Don't need any kind of equipment. Just move.
Yep.
So that's a big one for me. And then surviving the car ride and plane rides is, I think, a really important thing. I know for me personally, I've had back issues in my past, and riding in cars and planes have always been something that has really given me issues. And you're kind of trapped, So I use this analogy a lot. And so if I've worked with you on your ergonomics at work, you've probably heard this one before, but we think of our body like a tree. So our legs and our butt is the root system to our spine. Our spine is the trunk of the tree. And when we're sitting for longer than 30, 40 minutes at a time, the legs and butt just kind of go to sleep. I'm not being used. You don't need me right now. I'm just going to kind of go and hibernate. So at that point, they just kind of shut off. And now it's up to your spine to hold yourself up in place. And it can last for a little bit. It's just not going to last very long. And then you'll find you slowly start to drift into these awkward, awful positions. And for those of you who've been in airplanes, you know that those seats aren't the most sound for your back.
Horrible.
So just a few tips that you could really use. Be prepared. Bring like a little pillow, or it could even be like a rolled up sweatshirt. Just something to put on your back. I shoot for about right here, just to kind of give yourself some support so that we're not letting that slip. So you're not letting your hips slip out from underneath your back.
I love that.
Just to kind of keep yourself supported and locked in. If you're driving, take breaks. I know Dad is always, we got to be here by here. Then it's okay if you stop, take a 5-minute break, get out, go to the bathroom, stand, just get some recruitment back in your body. And I wouldn't say get out and stretch. A lot of people say, oh, I need to get out and stretch. I would get out and move.
Maybe some squats?
Right.
Okay.
I think jumping jacks, squats, anything to activate those leg and butt muscles again, and just kind of squeeze them, just kind of turn them on and get the muscles recruiting again and just get some activity in there. Because you never want to just hop out cold and start stretching. It's not good. We'd rather you get out, get a little movement in, just kind of turn your body back on, so when you get back into the car or back into the plane, then we can hold that position a little tighter. Now, obviously, when you're flying in a plane, you're not going to be able to stop and get out, but you can, walk up and down the aisles. So, and anytime I fly, I really try to focus on this. I always try to get an aisle seat. It just makes it much easier to get out.
Yep.
So you can, just walk up and down the aisle as much as you can. It can be annoying to be the window seat and have to crawl over people to get out into the aisle.
Yeah.
Or they fall asleep and you can't, so you're just kind of stuck.
If it's a long flight, I like to get up and go, stand by the bathroom, do a couple squats,
exactly.
Come back.
Yep. Just kind of keep moving. And even if you are stuck in the middle and you can't get out, just straighten your legs. Trying to just like push up into the seat and straighten your legs, squeeze your glute muscles in the back, just to kind of turn those back on so you can start supporting your back a little bit more is always a really good thing to do. Sit back in the seat. We never want to let our hips slide down the chair and we're starting to get in these awkward positions. So sitting back is a big thing. And then when you're driving, I love this, and I find myself doing this even just on a 10-minute drive now. Use 2 hands, and then you're gonna put your hands on the wheel and pull your shoulders back. All right, this is gonna help keep our spine straight. It's very easy to just sit there with that one arm, and we start to get in these slouch positions. So over time, that's gonna really start to affect your back. So just by sitting back and pulling your shoulder blades back, that's going to keep your back in a lot straighter position.
I love that.
So it's just an easy little trick to kind of use.
Cool.
And then same idea as the plane, if you're kind of stuck in the passenger seat or in the back seat, just kind of stretching out the legs and squeezing the glutes, turning everything back on is a big important thing to do.
Cool. Awesome. And then do you have any example movements that you're going to cover with us today?
Yeah, so always keep it simple. An air squat is a very very versatile movement that you can do anywhere. So all we're really focused on here, we get about a shoulder width stance. We want to keep our chest up, and then we're just going to squat. as low as we can. Stand back up. Now, as we squat, make sure the knees are staying out. We're really trying to push them out wide and just keeping our chest nice and tall. Squat, stand. Another personal favorite of mine is the burpee. All right, it's a very simple movement. All right, just basically you have to get to the ground and get back up. All right, so, and it doesn't have to be fast. You can just take a step back, lay down, stand up, give me a little hop. All right, it'll kind of really get your lungs going, get you moving. It's easy, it's simple. You know, jumping jacks, we're just jumping, getting our arms up, using your whole body. You can step to the side if you want to jump.
Side jacks.
Just get yourself moving as best you can. All right,
cool.
And then push up. You know, you could use if you have like a couch, you know, maybe you can't do push-ups on the ground, but you could go to the kitchen table, put your hands on the kitchen table, and then we're just lowering our chest down to the table, coming back up. So you don't need a lot of equipment, don't need a lot of movement. Like I said, walk, run, anything just to kind of get moving, get sweating.
Yep, so maybe I like that whole rule about like if you're driving, getting out and just moving a little bit, side jacks, jumping jacks, some squats. And then, you know, when you're on your holiday season, having those days where you'd normally work out, set a timer for 10 minutes and then just go through some series of whatever you just said, like some squats, push-ups, burpees, and just give yourself a little time commitment and get through it, and then you'll feel good about yourself, right?
Yep, doesn't take much, just a little bit of movement, and it's gonna make a big difference for your mental state, and then as you get ready for dinner and get into eating.
Cool. And I love those tips about driving and posture. I'm gonna start using that too. And
I love it.
And then the little roll behind the back. So.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. So we'll have resources.
Yep.
PDF, either attach to this video or email or whatever, and you'll have access to that. And
right.
Yeah. Cool.
Sounds
good
good.
tips, man.
You
Loved
too.
it.
I hope you guys all be safe on your trip. If you're going out of town, if you're just staying in town, hosting people, that can be just as stressful and intense. So still find your ways to break away and do your thing. But yeah, have a great holidays. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to chat. And we'll see you guys soon.
Keep it real.